Hey everyone, in this video I would like to show you the latest project in a complete overview of what I'm doing, what plugins I'm using, how I create my drum patterns and how I write my chords. Let's first listen to a complete playthrough of the song. Let's first take a quick look at the sidechain. As you can see, it's drum and bass, so you can't use a 4x4 trigger, so you will have to create a trigger yourself. As you can see, this is the trigger. It acts on the kick and the snare. Now let's take a look at the instruments used. This is simple harp, simple ambience violin, and a pretty simple bass line with a lot of processing. Well, only 3 plugins actually, but they have quite a big effect. Let's listen to the entire mix. As you can hear, the bass line punches through really nicely. Let's take a look at the drop. These are the main piano chords. They make up the main bulk of the sound. They come from Keyscape, Spectrasonics Keyscape, and then there's a second piano layer from Addictive Keys, which is shifted up 1 octave. And when you merge them together, it fills in the mid-range really nicely. Then we have the brass steps. Let's take a closer look at them in the piano roll. So yeah, here the brass section. In my opinion, this is what really adds the groove to the whole arrangement. I actually found this by accident. I was moving around some notes and I really liked the sound of it, so I just kept it. Now let's take a look at the main lead. The main bulk of the lead is a trumpet or a brass ensemble with a lot of processing going on. Let's take a quick look at the patch. As you can see, it's the brass ensemble preset from Contact, set to staccato, and then we have a shitload of processing, starting with an H delay, which is only used on the drop. It is automated. Then we have a OTT to make it a little bit more bright, EQ to get rid of the low range, another Pro Q to add a little more high range, well, a lot of more high range actually, the Kramer Pi to act as a glue compressor, and Vitamin to really give the sprinkle to the sound. Then I use the Edison to record reverse reverb sweeps, as you can hear right here. Yeah, in my opinion, this is what really gives it that nice epic ambient feel to the lead. Now I needed something to fill it up a little bit more, so I found this really weird, phasey, stereo kind lead, and when you merge it together with the normal brass ensemble, it sounds really good because it, it just fills in the stereo image. Let's take a look at the bass line. I have to enable it first. So as you can hear, it's the same bass line as in the intro. Well, it's not the same bass line, but it's the same bass sound with the same processing. Let's take a quick look at the bass line itself. As you can see, it's actually a pretty easy rhythm. It just follows the chorus with a bunch of octaving going on. And well, yeah, it's actually a pretty simple but really effective bass line in my opinion. Now let's take a look at what I did to the bass sound. First of all, I got rid of the noise that was present in the sample by using the automatic EQ setting. This retains some of the nice punch in the sound. Then I used OTT. As you can hear, it really brings out the girth. Some might say it sounds worse, but in my opinion I like these really full and processed sounds. When you add in the bass, you can hear it's a nice full range sound. Let's take a look at the main chord progression. This actually took me quite a few tries. I maybe had like, let's say 10 versions of this one chord progression. Every time I wasn't completely happy with it, so learn this trick from Mr. Bell and Weasel to just keep cloning your pattern and to just keep on tweaking until you are completely happy. After all, this is the rhythm that I found. Now let's take a look at the processing that I do on the piano. Basically, I just try to get rid of a lot of the low and mid frequencies, and then I boost up the high frequencies by a lot. This is to give a little bit more full range character to the piano sound. Let's take a listen to the vocal. As you can see, it's coming from the car sample pack. I was browsing around for a sample that worked, and I think this fit the song really nice, the theme also. And I just had to cut it up a little bit, so I did some slicing, and this is what I came up with. Now let's take a look at the vocal processing, because as you can see there's a lot of processing going on. First of all, we use the CLA 76, it's a very common vocal processor. Then we use the Pro Q with flat shift, flat tilt EQ. Then we use the CLA vocal, H delay, and another H delay. And this H delay is automated. Then we use OTT, of course, with depth set to only 5%. We use a tape stop, a reverb, pretty much default setting, and an equalizer which only comes in sometimes. Then we have the second drop vocal. This is one of the vocals I had dragged in really early on in the song actually, but I constantly felt this was like a vocal for the second drop and not the first drop. And so yeah, I kept it, and when I started creating the second drop I just dragged it back in and it sounded great, so yeah, really happy with that. Now for the third drop vocal I used the first vocal and I just lowered it by an octave, and then I did some extra processing on it to make it sound even, you know, weirder and spacier, let's say. It still retains the high-end sound though, which is done by using this vitamin plugin. Now let's take a look at the drum patterns. This is the drum fill that's used on the intro. As you can hear, it's pretty basic, but it's really hype and it really gets you going for the drop. And as you can see, I route every output from Addictive Drums to a single mixer track. This gives you a lot of control over the output and the processing that you want to do. Now let's take a quick look at the main drum break. As you can see, it's also quite easy. It's nothing really too complex or difficult. And when you now start adding in the channels from Addictive Drums. Now I also use some snares for layering. As you can hear, it makes the snare a little bit more punchy and snappy. And I also have a bunch of cymbals that I use, electronic cymbals. As you can hear, it fills in the high-end sound really nicely. And then there's this 4x4 ride that is grooving along really nicely. And on this I use the stereo generator to give it a little bit more, well, stereo image basically. As you can hear, it's really high. Then we have the mid-range break. It's just a normal break loop, which is really heavily processed. And For this I use the transient processor to turn down the release all the way and to make it a little bit more snappy. And then I use the gross beat to give it a really heavy sidechain. Then compress the shit out of it again. When you add it all together, it sounds like this. Now let's take a look at the main breakboards, which is the Korg M1 preset. As you can see, this is a lovely plugin. I really love this one for old school sounds. So the breakdown is actually really easy. It just uses a chord ambience, the main melody from the brass section, but this time it's not processed at all. It's just, you know, the clean brass sample, and there's a really easy ride going on. I think this breakdown builds up really nicely to the second drop. And it's now just effective in general. This is a small sub-sweep that you can create yourself really easily with basically any sound, but I used phase blend in this occasion. It's just an envelope automating the pitch volume, and that's it basically. And yeah, that is it basically. If you can think of anything that you would still like to see from this project, some things you would like me to show you, some things you would like clarified, please let me know in the comments. If you like this sort of content, please like the video. And if you want more content like this, please subscribe, because these videos take up to 16 hours to create for me, so a little bit of recognition for my work would be really awesome. Thanks in advance and have a great day.